leader in the stadium, that they're just ready to go. Simpson did really well. Stevens is no longer injured and ready to go. Here is an opportunity, because I tell you why, Bryce Gibbs has found some space. Shuffles the handball to the left-footed Simpson on his favourite side. He lines him up and rams it home, and the Blues have hit the front. Yes, they were really good in that third quarter, the Blues. And they lead it by 7 points after trailing by 9 points at half-time. 2 super goals, Carlton, 10-11-89 to Hawthorn. 2 super goals in that quarter, 9-10-82. Favola's got 3, Roughhead has 5. And the leading possession getters there, boys.
Favola's also got the super goal there, B2. We have a look at the stats. Effective disposals again. Carlton leading the way in that third quarter. And the uncontested possessions, that's work rate, Jared, hard run. And the clearances led by Chris Judd.
Yeah, they did pretty well around the clearances there, the Blues. They have upped the ante in every department. I'm sure Brett Ratton's his quarter-time speech would have been had a ringing effect in some of the years of his players. They've been marginally more direct, and this is a first, BT. You picked up, and Danny, you picked up the use of photographs.
Well, they use that off the laptop, off our feed, Jared, and obviously they'll have a look at the structures and show the players visually where you're standing at stoppages. And I think a little bit would be on the forward structure, BT, and the centre line.
Well, we saw John Barker, didn't we, holding up the photos to his forward line to say, here's the setup. Not sure quite what it was, but you can see the coaches there with them, and there is John Barker, I think the forward coach down at Hawthorn. Let's go down to Rowan Smith at boundary side. Rowan.
Thanks, BT. Well, I did actually try and get quite close to the Hawthorn huddle when they were using those the still photos. John Barker would hold them up and say, okay, this is the structure that we really want at the 10-minute mark or the 15-minute mark, which was really good, I thought. They have different structures. They probably had 4 or 5 different photos. But yeah, so those are for the structures. Also, Nick Stevens, or you can see those the photos just there they're using there for their forward line and their back line as well. Also, just a quick one on Nick Stevens. He's a leading possession winner on the ground with 22. Was struggling a little bit when he did get tackled there in the start of that third quarter with his left knee, but he was all okay at that third quarter time huddle as well. So he looks okay.
Well, Jared, you asked the question about Roughhead v Favola. It's line ball before the game. It's line ball, isn't it?
Yeah, one's a little bit younger than the other one. He's got a big upside, has Jared Roughhead. And Fev, well, he's been a late mature in many ways, despite the fact that he kicked 15 goals in one of his very early outings in a pre-season cup competition. In fact, it was on New Year's Eve when the Millennium Bug was about to affect us, and the world didn't shut down, and Fev just got going. But I think one of the most talked about elements from this game will be the Nick Stevens handball over the top, and I think that here it is here. The deliberate rule, I think, has been fantastic, and with so many players in defence, I think it's going to come in, but they've got to clarify how they treat those things.
How's his acting skills after he got rid of it? Oh, gee, I didn't know I did that. All right, start of the last quarter here.
Against Hawthorn to Carlton.
Carlton by 7 points.
Encroached into the zone, encroached into the zone against Josh Kennedy.
Encroached into the umpire's zone there against Josh Kennedy.
Had his foot in the zone.
Had his foot in the zone, said the umpire. Like their little bit of turf, it's only a small box out there, so please don't go in it, players. High ball comes to Favola. 3 deep, couldn't mark. Houlihan bets. Electric in this situation. Back to Favola. Quick hands, Cloak can get it on. Opportunity here for Hadley. Gets it out to Houlihan. Snap around the body. Difficult ask. Touched right on the line.
Well, Smithy, good to see Cyril up on the ball. If the Hawks are going to win, they've got to have players like him give a big effort in this last 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's great, and I think that if his tank and his engine can hold up, he's going to be a very important player in this last quarter.
Went without it there, Young. Had a great opportunity. Now Stevens, who's normally very good in this situation. Mark taken by Jacobs.
Yeah, it was a brilliant kick under pressure.
Sam Jacobs dishes. Thornton been very good in that last line today.
There's Mark Williams chasing. They need him into the game too, Jared. Only the 2 disposals for Mark Williams.
Hadley to Betts, one-hander, didn't need to play on, should have gone back, over the top, it's Mitch Robinson, comes in, marks, kicks the goal. Carlton have got the opener in the last.
Quick ball movement. Since quarter time, they've dictated the play because they've kept the ball alive. They just play on. They rolled from the mark in the first quarter. They were taking a mark. Jared going back off the mark. Roll and go. Have a look at that. Marks the ball. Plays on instinct. The forwards love quick ball movement, especially at the top of the square like that.
Comes down to skill error. Young He's a fantastic up-and-comer, but he just let one go, and it was wrapped up on the other side. The Hawks should have been going to attack. He just dropped the ball.
You know what I think he was trying to do, Jared? Or he tried to get onto his left foot. Because he's running right foot to the boundary line, so he's thinking, I'm going to mark the ball. I need to get onto my preferred leg.
Carlton's biggest lead of the game now at 14 points. Hawthorn were up. Their biggest lead was 30 points in the second quarter. Back in the middle.
Well, it's been working hard to get Cyril into the game. He's now picking up a player off the half-back line.
The Blues with lots of runners. Armfield's one of those, and Gibbs another. Mitch Robinson happy to give to Simpson. Back inboard, Robinson could get on the end of this. Simpson's on his wrong side, straightens up on the left now. Didn't have a lot of time to get set. Missed.
Armfield's been very impressive, BT.
He has.
He was on Rioli for a fair period of that first 3 quarters, and he's been an excellent player today.
Sam Jacobs also for Carlton has been very good in the ruck. Just a youngster to push forward hard there to have a passage of play. So he's playing on Simon Taylor, giving away a lot of experience.
Jared Waite doing some good work defensively for the Blues there. The ruckman, as they have all day, Jacobs and Taylor, jostling for position. Mitchell.
Nice hands.
He knows how to do that part of the game, that is for sure. Birchall.
Got Roughhead one-on-one.
Jared's man, Rioli.
Kick.
Roughhead, great, wasn't it? Brilliant. It's not a super goal. Roughhead can go the journey from here, though.
Pre-game, Jared and Smithy. He was shelling peas from this area. Rowan Smith, will he kick it from there, Smithy?
Well, Spud, you reckon that he could kick a goal from outside 50, so I'm going to back him for you.
Well, this one will be right on the line. Roughhead didn't have a lot of momentum, but still made the journey and kicked the goal. Roughhead's kick 6.
Do you agree with me now, Smithy?
Talk about shelling peas, Spud.
Well, BT, I could hear it in your voice. He was getting incredibly close to the man on the mark, and yet I think he actually saw that. And here's Rioli finally getting himself involved, and he adjusted, I think, and kicked off about 3 steps because he was going to run into his direct opponent, but that was hit weakly.
He's a powerful unit. Both forwards have put on a little bit of a display here today. Jared Roughhead, another 6 goals. Quality player. Pick number 2 in the 2004 draft.
Had a big pre-season, I believe, in the top 10 quickest there. Look at this matchup here, Jared.
Well, I reckon it's a beauty. Eddie Betts has just started to get himself into the game, and having someone like Cyril run off him will make him think twice.
Here's Rioli. He's come just when you wanted him.
Here he goes.
To play. As Mitchell back to Rioli. Tries to shake the tackle. Simpson. Just wanted to let him feel that tackle a bit too, you get the feeling.
I think Alistair Clarkson wouldn't worry that, though. He's taking the game on, and you can just see the shackles have been released on Cyril. You know, playing the half-forward line at times. You've got a half-back flanker playing close. You can see the freedom he's got now running off that half-back line.
With the white boots of Waite. Straight down the middle and finds Hadley, one of the substitute players today, who's now found his way out there in a permanent situation. There's Thornton. Been a nice player for the Blues.
Been one of their best for mine.
Cloak. 3 deep. Sewell. Quick hands. Guerra. Mitchell. Mitch Robinson picked up in the end by Guerra. Handball back in. Here's an opportunity. Kennedy gives it off to Guerra.
There's a beautiful kick.
Lined up through the middle of the ground, Hawthorn, if they can get it back in there.
Betts did really well without infringing to just put McGlynn off momentarily. He recovers, though, and now the Hawks reload. Dowler. Bo Dowler, a couple of bounces through the middle. Penetrating run from the centre circle. Here they come. What have they got on offer? Mark taken by Moss.
This is what I was talking about. There were 4 or 5 Carlton players all going back to the hole, and yet Moss ran with the flight of the ball, as I've seen Richo do a number of times over the last 18 months.
Moss, a very, very ugly kick. Had to get the good bounce, though. Waiter, he would have been in trouble. Just inexperienced there to not go back and take his time and
wait for Jared Roughhead to present.
Well, perhaps a lack of goal-kicking experience, I guess, in the set shot situation as well. Gibbs, Thornton.
Missed tackle there from Taylor.
Gibbs short ball finds Thornton. I think it's going to come
downfield.
He got messed up with after the after he got rid of it, so there's a 50-metre penalty.
Well, that's the new rule. Can't retard the run. It was Chris Johnson who was retarded there for Carlton, so he'll get the free kick.
Just under 20,000 here today, 19,111 for this NAB Cup pre-season quarter-final.
Some space on the fat side.
There is. Johnson, 60 metres out. Low ball, here's Favola.
That's inexcusable.
Cloak it was, in fact. It was a brilliant kick.
It was a great kick, BT.
Actually drew him towards it, didn't it?
Well, it was a very good kick, but you've got to ask the question, when you've got a zone and you've got some midfielders coming back to block the hole, that is the one area you need to block. It's directly in front of goal. We just see Cloak leading through the middle. Alistair Clark's wouldn't be too happy with that one, I wouldn't have thought.
Led so strongly, I thought it was Fev for a moment. Cameron Cloak. 47 senior games under his belt so far, and here's a really good opportunity for him. 30 metres out directly in front, goes back and calmly puts through his second goal. Cameron Cloak.
I don't like him as a forward, Spud. I think he's a player that had question marks on him when he came to Carlton. We know he's undersized for a ruckman, but he can play that role pretty well. But as another forward option coming in behind Fev, I think this proves that he's got plenty to offer. He's only, as BT said, he's played just on 50 games. He's got a lot of upside to go.
And they don't get any smaller. And you throw Matthew Cruiser in there. And we saw last year he went forward against Port Adelaide.
Yeah.
Over there in round 11 and kicked 3 goals in the last quarter to get the Blues over the line. So it's a good rotation to have your ruckman, but they can also push forward and kick goals. They're a rare commodity.
Having a bit of a peep at the replay too was Cameron, just to see how it looked, and I can tell him that it looked fine. And the Blues now lead it by 15 points with 12 minutes remaining.
Well, they've got to conjure a super goal or something, or a couple of quick normal goals to get themselves back believing. The Hawks, because they look like they've had a few players put the cue in the rack.
They are capable of the super goal. 2 in the third quarter.
Clinton Young and Guerra are probably 2 players on the run to kick the super goals for Hawthorn.
Here's Stevens. The drawing handball over the top gave this man, Garlett, just a bit of space to operate. Oh. Rioli, soaring attempt on the top of the 6'6" Cloak. And a free kick is going to go the way of Cloak, I think, for a high tackle in his attempt to mark.
What about the leap from Cyril?
Can you kick the footy back?
Was it a legitimate attempt?
Well,
I reckon it was. The ball missed him by about 1 inch.
Yep, he had eyes on the ball. His hands were within half a metre or so.
His eyes never deviated off the ball, so that's play on for mine.
Yep.
Yes, there was head-eye contact, but his eyes were firmly fixed on the Sherrin.
Well, if it's a legitimate attempt, it should have been play on. I know he missed it, but not by much.
If the ball had been another 6 inches lower, he would have marked the ball.
And he would have picked up a Toyota.
Well, Cameron Cloak to push the margin out to 21 points. And his third goal. From just on 50. That one there has hit the post. It did look right.
Well, the pleasing part for Carlton, BT, they've kicked the 14 goals and they've had 8 goal kickers. They haven't relied on Brendan Favola to kick his 8 or 9.
Well, if they get across the line as they're looking, it's a much more impressive win given the way they started. They were flat. They needed to find something within themselves, reorganise themselves a little bit.
They conceded the first 4 goals of the game. So flat were they, the Blues. And they've kicked 5 out of the last 6 here. Now.
Much more defensive pressure coming from their forwards, BT, now than we saw in the first 25 minutes. And it's creating options for goal. The winner, of course, takes on the Cats.
Yep, that'll be next Saturday, we believe. The Collingwood game, I think, will be Friday.
Next Saturday night at the Docklands here.
The naming disputes of this stadium, of course, we're treading warily at the moment, Spud, and calling it Docklands and all sorts of things after, for many years, calling it the Dome. And new sponsors involved, and hopefully that'll be able to be tightened up during the week for the sake of all concerned. Carlton have got it locked in their forward half of the ground. They led it by 16 points. We're down to 10.5 minutes remaining. Here's Murphy.
Good hands.
Sharp hands. Around the corner. Favola's under it. a little too far. Rioli, good timing. Robinson overran it. Judd. Rioli got a high tackle. Did he kill? Umpire said no. Picked up by Garlett. And a free kick, Hawthorn out of bounds in the full.
You coming out.
We're up the middle. I tell you what, if the Hawks can run onto this, they've got some space. Here's Tuck. Through one player, round another. And they're going to be into their attacking 50 in no time.
He's gone.
If Dowler gets rid of the ball, that is.
He handballed it to himself.
Loudon crashes through.
Well, it was good awareness in the end, Jared. That's why I thought he was gone, because he'd stumbled, and if he had disposed the ball and just threw it on the ground, you see Jared Ruffhead on the bench. He just... Oh.
Well, he came off similar time last week against the Demons. He spent about 4 minutes off the ground, and then he was put back on fortuitously or expertly. Grabbed the mark, kicked a goal, they won the game.
Well, he's got 6 so far in the game.
He can just read the play, this bloke. And he's looking pretty comfortable as a defender, which is, I think, something that they would now like to have in their quiver.
Further explore.
Yep.
Well, you called for it early, Jared. I think it's one thing about these pre-season games. You're able to create other positions. And Cyril Rioli, you know, he kicked a number of goals and a lot of forward pressure last year. Now they can go into the season proper under the pump. We need some run. Put Cyril down there.
Murphy. Chipping ball around the corner is good. Sets up Joseph. Takes on one inside to Betts. Is really poised, controlled football from such a young man in Joseph to find Betts.
Well, that young Joseph there, sorry, Aaron, that was a magnificent kick. I think the Hawthorn defenders thought he was going to blaze away. He lowered his eyes beautifully. We just see it here. Have a look. Have the poise. Lower your eyes. Just a chip kick there to Eddie Betts. Great play.
To make it a 22-point margin, Betts, capable of anything from this situation, comes in across the face, misses the lot.
Big
Mark
grab.
taken by Favola. Was it inbounds? Out on the full. Ray says, I think Brendan probably agrees the way that he didn't argue. So the Hawks have got to start moving. We've got 8 minutes remaining in the game, and as it stands there, 16 points adrift. Good linking play in the back half. As long as they don't overuse it just at this point here. An opportunity for the young man in Shields, who got run down from behind, trying to just do a little too much.
Well, a positive for Brett Ratton. He can show the first quarter and say, this is what happens when you don't come to play. No intent, missed tackles. And this is what happens when you do play with some vigour and some verve. You just get in there and you tackle hard and you nail them.
Mark taken. Bauer. Shoulder problems last year did Bauer have. Here's Simpson. Back to that man, Bauer. Gives off the handball to Jordan Russell, who's under enormous pressure. Comes back to the big fella in the middle in Jacobs. Simpson.
Oh,
How was that for Favola?
legal use of the knees to keep him out.
Just kept him out of the way with the knees and grabbed it with the other things that he had free. They happen to be hands.
Well, you learned from day one to protect the area where the ball was going to land. He did that in spades.
Look at this. He lines up for the super goal. Gibbs to Favola. Favola launches a long bomb. Hasn't quite got the journey. Mark almost taken in front there by Hampson. And it is. It's a goal, so it's spilled off Hampson. And somehow must have got a foot to it. Did not see it myself. But the goal has been awarded to Hampson.
Well, there's Harry Chan on the wing. That was a horizontal shepherd using the legs. And let's have a look.
There's the marking situation. The ball spills.
It's come off the Hawthorn.
Come off
Hawthorn.
Jared Morton's foot.
Didn't think I'd seen it.
Well, if we're in South Africa, that would be a challenge.
Yeah. Here we see another angle. You see Jared Morton, yes, his left boot.
That's a perfect example of perhaps the electronic opportunity to view a play.
Yep.
If you're unsure. I thought the goal umpire being so close would have perhaps seen it. Anyway, 22-point lead. Carlton have got one they shouldn't have, and it's probably going to put them into a semi-final showdown with the Cats next week.
Good vision there by Stevens. Hard ball one. Got it flipped out the back.
Simpson. 22-point lead, Carlton. They tie it up on the outer wing here.
It's going to be really important for Carlton to get Heath Scotland back and recovered from his OP. because there's no doubt with the ball in his hands, Stevens is excellent off half-back, but coming forward to the centre, he creates goals.
Hawthorn youngsters today. How have you seen them, Spud?
They've acquitted themselves quite well, BT.
Here's one of them in Shields, the youngest of them all.
Keel's been handy.
Young, and a 50-metre infringement against Nick Stevens here.
With Young on the end of it, and he can kick a 9-pointer.
And this will be a 9-pointer from inside the 50.
I'd like Luke Loudon also, BT, 204 centimetres. He's competed quite well in the ruck for the Hawks.
Well, this is the must goal from Young. They're 22 points adrift.
There's the guns on the bench for the Blues, Favola and the captain Chris Judd, Mark Murphy.
Young for a super goal. Oh, didn't get it well. Ordinary attempt in the end and Waite safely.
Well, you prefer to see Clinton Young on the run.
Yeah.
To kick that, nail those goals.
Could be said of a lot of left-footers, but where they need that leverage in the arc in which they run to get a really good purchase on the ball.
Well, Carlton are just going to try and play possession football now. Hawthorn need to man up.
Johnson, handball read by Taylor.
Good effort.
Well done for a big man. Birchall, right on the NAB Cup logo.
Too many short handballs there under pressure. Carlton have done quite well through the middle in this quarter in particular, just turning the ball around. Some of the inexperienced players for Hawthorn have gone too short, not gone for the wider option.
Well, you're right. A young Hayden Keel, you can't blame him to want to get the ball in his hands, but he's running into a brick wall, as we saw then.
So the Blues with 5.5 remaining in front of the just under 20,000 crowd here today. Lead it by 22 points, and as Danny has mentioned, have been very good since quarter time in this game after a slow start.
Pretty much gone to script, BT, except for the unbelievable start by Hawthorn. I guess we'll never know, but two bad injuries to Hawthorn have really robbed them, I think, of that bit of experience that they needed if they were to challenge.
Yes, Campbell, Brown and Gillum both going down and taking no further part after half-time. And now a boundary throw-in, attacking 50 here for Carlton. Cloak been impressive today. Birchall. And the ball won't come out of there and will be... Oh, no, Ray Chamberlain's found one, so it will come out. Around the head, fair enough.
Well, rough it off the ground, as we've seen a couple of times, and Mitch Thorpe's up there by himself. It's an opportunity for him to impress, but sadly for him, the ball hasn't really come in there with any venom at all.
Tuck before with that possession, the leading possession getter once again for the Hawks in this game, so he's a real find for them.
Hard running from Moss.
Inside 50. Looking for that man in Moss. And Armfield has been very impressive here today. And the Blues challenge once again. Here's Grigg. Kick around the corner. Perhaps not what he would have liked, and Birchall able to intercept. Tuck involved again. Possession number 26 for him.
In trouble.
Dowler went backwards initially, and now they've really gone backwards. Morton under enormous pressure. Rioli. Oh, look at the step. Nice composure from Rioli. The Hawks into the middle. Get it in a good spot to attack. The strong run of Birchall. Now the kick needs to be precise. An infringement surely against Jamison there.
Used his body well, Gary Moss. He's not tall in stature, but he knows how to use his body. That was classical play here. We see Moss just ride the bump of Jamison and drew the free kick. Good use of the body. Protected the area where the ball was going to drop, which drew the free kick.
Rookie listed player. Super goal attempt here.
Well, he couldn't travel the distance the last time he was in this spot early in this quarter.
He's looking around.
A problem.
He gives it off to a super goal possibility in Birchall for 9. You heard the umpire say it drops short. And once again, Waite strong within metres of goal. Simpson.
Just coping with a bit of cramp, I think, Moss.
And that's inexperience for Mitch Thorpe, Jared. Jared Waite's direct opponent's Mitch Thorpe. Now, he was out the other side of the ground, and his direct opponent was Jared Waite taking an easy mark. He had to be on the goal line there. He'll learn from that and just contest the ball.
So the Blues, a good start to the 09 season. A nice NAB Cup here. Here's Houlihan. Free kick off the ball.
Take your kick, Cade Simpson.
And it will go to Cade Simpson, no advantage paid. So they're in the running for the ultimate $180,000 prize for winning this NAB Cup, the Blues.
A few Hawthorn players a bit sore there, Smithy. Grant Birchall limping off the ground.
Yeah, Grant's just come off the ground, just limping. I just think it was a little bit of cramp though, Spud, so he looks okay.
Kate Simpson, very quiet first quarter. I think 1 possession. Finished up being a very damaging player.
And Roughhead didn't come back on the ground. We saw him on camera about 10 minutes ago sitting on the bench, and they didn't elect to bring him back out. They felt that whatever happened, it didn't really matter. They'd got what they needed out of this one.
Well, you take your structure players off, BT. They've already lost a couple of structure players in Gillum. Crode's injured, so and Lance Franklin recovering from a shoulder and a thumb. So you can replace midfielders. You know, they've got about 20 on each league list now, but when you lose one of your structure players, it does throw out your style of play somewhat.
Well, you saw some of the guns sitting on the bench there. Combine that with the players that didn't play today, and really, they are going to be a force again this year, the Hawks. Here's Eddie, a little bit of magic. Or was it Garlett? May have been the latter, it was. There he is.
Impressive.
Found a player there, Jared.
Yeah, he looks good.
Speed.
First cousin of Buddy Franklin. Young Jeff Garlett.
There's a skinnier version. He's missed out in the height department as well, but he's a pretty smart footballer.
Got the speed.
The Mo and Goatee just a little different. Kick wide from the Hawks, and this one's all over. 23-point lead of the Blues. We've got under 2 minutes remaining as Morton tries to back out of the situation with Hadley. Not successful, and Hadley's won himself a free.
And Richard Hadley, he's had a lot of injuries throughout his career. He's a solid player. He'll be handy for the Blues if he can get up and running and play some good, consistent football.
From the Lions, of course.
Can play a number of roles: midfield, half back, half forward. Good
Hadley.
skills.
High ball. Good attempt at mark in the end there from Hampson. Former soccer player Hampson. I think this is only his 5th season of competitive football. And obviously still learning the game and plenty of development left in him.
You can hear the Carlton cheer squad starting to sing the song because they can look at the countdown clock showing a minute to go.
New innovation here at the Dome is the countdown clock. A sensible decision, I would have thought. Everyone else knows what's going on with the time. Why not the paying public? Rioli spins out of trouble.
Fox Sports have had that for 7 years, BT.
Yes, they have, and I think there's only been one network that hasn't had it. There's a smother over the line out of bounds. So a really good effort by Carlton today. 37 seconds remaining on the countdown clock. It's not on the big scoreboard here, but it's high above and very easy for all to see. A big win for Carlton. Hawthorn come out of this game with a bit of damage.
Where do you see the Blues, BT? They couldn't have been more impressive in the first couple of games. Do you see them top 6, top 4?
I'm not sure about top 6. I think 8th, 9th, 10th, somewhere about there. I think in the end they're, you know, the numbers they have to challenge that are capable of playing at this level would probably hold them back from being a real strong competitor in the top 6, I would have thought. Bryce Gibbs will get the free here. Siren will sound.
27 he's finished with. 1 in the first quarter. 26 in the remaining 3.
Siren sounds. Really don't need to kick this one. There's no percentages involved, and Carlton go into the semi next week, but just for personal reasons perhaps.
Nice way to finish.
And it is a positive way to finish. Bryce Gibbs, providing he converts, of course. This will make it a 29-point margin. Hangs it way out to the right, so it'll just be the 24 points that Carlton have won by. Fantastic win from a team full of youngsters on the rise.
Especially after quarter time, they've outscored Hawthorn 14 goals to 7 since quarter time, so it's a comprehensive win in the end. They never looked like it, Jared, early in the game, could not find the ball. Hawthorn were full of running, but to Carlton's credit, I think that's a sign of maturity. 2 years ago, they would have thought it's not our day, we're young, we're developing, we'll just go through the motions. But they found something. I think it started, you called it, through Bryce Gibbs, and we'll go down to Rowan Smith, who's got Nick Stevens.
Quarter time, and it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was disappointing the way we come out, and I think to the boys' credit, the way we fought back and, you know, made those contested balls. We won and got on top there, and I think the next 3 quarters were pretty good.
Looked like he missed a few tackles there too in the first quarter. Was that a little bit of a focus at quarter time where Brett Ratton said, OK, we're missing a few tackles, we've got to lay a few?
Yeah, our tackles were down at quarter time, and I think we turned it around the second quarter and went up with 5 more tackles at half time. So that was an area that we wanted to focus on. And, you know, I think the boys did that. It wasn't much of a game to watch, but I think we really worked hard and got the result we were after.
And you had a lot more goal kickers today, just not Brendan Favola. The focus, obviously, still Brendan played a good game, but you know, other players chiming in.
Yeah, it's good to have a variety of goal kickers. We need that because Fev's obviously the main focal point up there and kicked all our goals last year, so it's good to see blokes chipping in.
And a little bit of a different role for you this year, not playing as much in the midfield, playing off half back.
Yeah, mate, it's been down back and enjoying a new role, but it's only early days, so we'll see what happens.
We're into a NAB Cup semi-final. As you go along, I suppose, does the focus turn more to winning?
No, I think we're focusing on round 1 and trying to do things that we want to do in round 1s and 2 and 3, and we just get the best preparation we can. And I think to keep playing in this is probably that's what it does.
Well, congratulations, well played today. You were sensational. Good luck next week.
Thanks, Smitty.
26 disposals for Nick Stevens and a win for the Blues by 24 points, Jared and Danny.
I think the pleasing part about the Blues, fellas, is the fact that they've had 9 goal scorers out of 15 goals.
And there's one of them in Brendan Favola. Looked pretty comfortable today. But the Blues roll on. They face the Cats next week.
They do. A 24-point win today. Favola kicked 4. Carlton were great.
This has been a Fox Sports